Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It was with great excitement that I left my hotel garage to set off on a 2.5-hour drive to Pompeii. I was so excited, I forgot to turn on my mic for the intro. It was a beautiful day at first, but about an hour in, I ran into coastal fog. I was concerned I would have no light for photography, but it eased up as I approached Pompeii. Alright, so welcome back. We're inside. Looking forward to seeing the sights. It's park's only been open about an hour, but some groups are still leaving already. I think the park opened at 9 o'clock, and some people, I guess, go to the rush tour and in and out in an hour, but I'm going to be here for a while. So look forward to seeing the first sights. So while I'm walking, I guess I'll give a quick history of the eruption of Pompeii, which, as you all know, happened in 79 AD. What you may not know is that when Vesuvius erupted and it ejected immense amounts of ash and soot and pumice and rained down upon the village, crushing roofs and that kind of thing. But that's not what killed most of the people. Most of the people survived that. But I think about 24 hours after that came pyroclastic flows. Pyroclastic flows are flows of extremely hot gas, poisonous, noxious gas, racing down the hillside at 400 miles an hour. And people who hadn't left Pompeii by then didn't have a chance. They were smothered almost immediately, and then covered, of course, in many feet of ash as the eruptions and pyroclastic flows continued for several days afterwards. Most famous casualty of the eruption was Pliny the Elder. His son, Pliny the Younger, got away. So this appears to be one of the main forums. The square. This is just inside the entrance to the park. Now this brickwork is original. As we get to the end of the wall here, you can see where it was reconstructed. This obviously is modern brickwork here. Individual rooms. May have been stores, may have been, well, I don't know. But the entire forum is lined with these little rooms. All the way around. There's a staircase back there, which I'm going to go up and see what that leads to. This looks like it must have been one of the main streets And I think it leads to the not the forum.
Hat er sich umgeschaut, so wie Sie kamen die ganzen Händler, er hat sie alle gekannt, hallo Markus, hallo Port, er hat sie alle begrüßt. Und dann ist er wieder reingegangen, geradeaus drinnen, werden Sie noch sehen, ist ein Häuschen.
So I overheard a tour guide explaining that this room here is the bakery. I presume that's the oven in the back there. And there's a fountain in the front. This is somebody's home. The sign says home of Cornelia, whoever Cornelia was. This is probably the kitchen. You can hear their guides speaking in all different languages: German, English, and Italian. So this was apparently a tavern. So as you can see, Pompeii was quite a large town. This is one of the main streets. So apparently this is probably the main entrance to Cornelia's house. So this whole corner was her mansion. Now, unless I might be missing my guess here, and if I am, I apologize, but this might be a stable. Or at least an area where horses were trained. Seems to be the actual stalls where they probably kept the horses. The Stabian baths were the largest of Pompeii's 5 public baths. These are the women's baths. The courtyard was used for exercise. The bathhouse even had a swimming pool. I continued to walk the streets of Pompeii with increasing regret that I hadn't picked up a map. And you'll notice that pretty much all the walls here are exposed brick, but in reality, or in originality, they were mostly recovered in plaster. There's still some bits of plaster preserved, like right here. But most of the plaster is gone. More plaster bits here. And they probably would have been painted. Actually, this wall has quite a bit of preserved plaster still on it. But any painting that was on there is long gone. We've arrived at the center of town, the Forum. This was the centerpiece for all commercial area activity in Pompeii. Far in there, I believe that's the Temple of Apollo. And to the right probably was the Temple of Jupiter. Or actually I might actually be inside the Temple of Jupiter, but you can see there's some columns still standing around here. But most of whatever the columns supported are gone. I'm sure it originally had a roof. This is the Centaur. So, okay, these walls were originally covered in marble that was laid over the brickwork. Some of the marble still exists. Unfortunately, the paint that was on that marble does not. I'm sure that was originally brightly colored, really looking majestic. So we can only imagine what it looked like back in the day. So this is the Temple of Venus, which was created shortly after Pompeii was founded, which was around 80 BC. Not much of it remains, except for that statue and some columns. You can't really see it. It's shrouded in clouds and mist. But in the very back there is Mount Vesuvius. It's miles away from here. You can imagine the terror that people must have felt when the mountain erupted. But today, it's peaceful. You can't see it, but you know it's there. So this wall is a kind of a illustration of how Pompeii looked. The walls painted. Then of course, the eruption and terror that resulted. Now this courtyard is so well preserved that you can see even the floor, the tiles on the floor. Multicolored stones used in back there. I guess originally the whole area was covered by those tiles. Sure, this is a water drain. Which makes sense. I think there's another one over here. It would have to have drainage from the roof. Okay, now this is the sanctuary of Apollo, not the area that I thought was before. It goes back to the 6th century BC. It's been remodeled several times. Originally had a roof. And that thing in the middle, I believe, is a sundial. So maybe it didn't have a roof. Now, just outside of the Forum, which is right behind me, and we have a bit of modernity, which has snuck in. So this is other main streets, people's houses from left and right. And there seems to be a viewpoint of possibly Vesuvius at the end. If you see those houses at the end of the street and some people standing up the roof. So if I can get up there, I'll see if I can get a shot of Vesuvius. Although, since it's buried in clouds at the moment, I probably won't actually get a shot of the mountain, but won't know until we try. So I've climbed to the top of the Tower of Mercury. And from here, you have a great view of all of Pompeii.
No, tady to vypadá, že je potom nějaká hlavní centrální třída, nějaký náměstí.
But more than that, we have a view of Mount Vesuvius. Or at least we would if it weren't covered in clouds. Interestingly enough, Vesuvius is still considered an active volcano since it last erupted, I think, in the early, around 10,000, 1,000, 1,100, something like that. So as long as it's erupted within the last 10,000 years, it's still considered active. Hopefully it won't go off today. So behind me is another tavern, the Casa dell'Osso Perito. You see this floor is very well preserved, as well as what may be a fireplace in the background. So I'm learning a lot just from listening to other tour guides. So these walls still have some of the preserved fresco. This wall is scratched graffiti that's thousands of years old. Apparently, this is a gladiator but it's drawn with little skinny stick legs. Apparently, people did this to basically make fun of the gladiators. There's another wall over here that has a penis scratching the wall, pointing in the direction of a brothel.
Which was used to be the
This is a boat
of the pre-Roman age Pompeii.
I'm sure that, as you can see, there's still some of the red paint left. I'm sure there's probably many other colors in the paint there also. Some yellow ochre in there. See, there's red here, there's yellow here. And now we come to the great amphitheater. You can see that probably several thousand people will sit around here waiting for performances, the latest great hits. Stage area was behind me here. The stage itself looks like it's no longer exists because this is all reconstructed brick. Perhaps it wasn't even a stage. They might have just done everything right here on the floor in the middle. Looks like I'm on stage right now. Ta-da! But here, you can see from the top of the amphitheater, yeah, there could have been several thousand people sitting in here. But here on the walls of the amphitheater, you can see carved into it graffiti. I don't know whose graffiti it is. I don't know if it's dedicated to artisans whose brickwork it is, or whether it's just some randos. You know, Paul and Mary were here, something like that. Who knows? This is one I can read pretty clearly. Ponticello, which tells me that it's not Latin, it's Italian, so it's more recent. Simon was here. Nicole was here. So I would see some folks with way too much time on their hands. And with that, friends, I've worked my way pretty much back to where I came in. Hope you've enjoyed this little visit to Pompeii. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of this wonderful place. But it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime visit, and I'm glad I made it. If you've liked what you've seen so far, and you want to see more, I still have at least one more day of Italy before going home. So that'll be my next visit, my next video. So until then, my friends, give me a like, give me a subscription if you're not already subscribed already. Hit the notification bell down there so the next time I upload, you'll see it right away. And until the next time I see you, I'll see you. Bye.